The healing power of silence, a new approach to self-care in old age. What if the secret to a long, peaceful, and meaningful life isn't found in more noise, more activity, or more advice, but in something far simpler: silence? Imagine healing your body, calming your mind, and reconnecting with your soul, not by doing more, but by doing less. In today's episode of Elderly Care, we are going to explore something surprisingly powerful: the quiet revolution in self-care. Stay with us to the end, because what we're about to share could change the way you age, the way you live, and the way you care for yourself, forever. Bellhop Bell, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone you love. Your support helps us reach more seniors with wellness wisdom every week. Why silence matters more as we age. You know, we live in a world that's constantly buzzing, phones dinging, TVs droning, traffic blaring. Everything's louder, faster, and more demanding than it used to be. And when you've spent a whole lifetime juggling responsibilities, raising families, building careers, sometimes that noise becomes part of the background. You almost don't notice it until you stop. And that's when the magic of silence starts to show itself. Now, silence might feel a little unfamiliar at first. Maybe even uncomfortable. Especially if you're used to having the TV on just for the company, or the radio playing in every room of the house. But here's the thing: as we get older, silence isn't just a break from the world. It's something your body, your mind, and your spirit actually need. What silence does to your brain. Let's talk science for just a second, but don't worry, I'll keep it simple. Researchers at Duke University found something really fascinating. A neuroscientist named M. Kirsain discovered that when mice were exposed to 2 hours of silence a day, their brains started creating new cells in the hippocampus. That's the part of the brain responsible for memory, emotions, and learning. Now, we're not mice, of course, but the human brain responds in surprisingly similar ways. That means that just sitting in quiet, peaceful stillness can literally help your brain repair itself. Especially important as we get older and start worrying about things like forgetfulness, brain fog, or early signs of dementia. Maria's story, the quiet that changed everything. Let me tell you about Maria Gomez, a retired teacher from New Mexico. Maria's 78 now, and for years, she had the TV on all day. Morning talk shows, news, reruns, anything to keep the silence away. But one morning, the power went out. No TV, no noise. So she sat on her porch instead. The birds were chirping. The wind rustled through the trees. Nothing fancy, just nature doing its thing. I thought I'd go nuts, she told me, laughing. But by the third day, something strange happened. I didn't feel so tense. I started sleeping better. I could remember where I put my keys. And I realized I didn't miss the noise one bit. The science of stillness, a gift for the aging body. Silence doesn't just help your mind. It helps your nervous system too. Your body has this thing called the autonomic nervous system. It's like the internal control center for your heartbeat, digestion, breathing, all the stuff you don't have to think about. When we're stressed or overstimulated, like after watching the news or scrolling through social media, that system gets stuck in high gear. That's the fight or flight mode, and if it stays active too long, it wears us down. Raises our blood pressure. Messes with our sleep. Weakens our immune system. But when we sit in silence, something beautiful happens. Our body shifts into rest and digest mode, the parasympathetic side. That's when healing starts. That's when your body finally gets to catch its breath. Silence isn't emptiness, it's medicine. There's an old saying, silence is golden. And honestly, when I was younger, I thought that just meant don't talk too much. But now I understand. Silence isn't just golden, it's healing. It's the soft, gentle space where our minds can settle. Where our memories can float to the surface. Where we can actually hear our own thoughts again. And in a world that's always shouting at us to do more, be more, listen to more, it turns out that doing less, listening to nothing at all, can be the most powerful kind of care we can give ourselves. So, next time you wake up early and the house is quiet, just sit with it for a while. Don't rush to turn on the TV or check your phone. Just breathe it. Let the silence speak. You might be surprised at what it has to say. The modern noise crisis among seniors. Let's just be honest here, modern life is loud. And I'm not just talking about traffic or construction outside your window. I'm talking about the kind of noise that gets into your head and doesn't leave. The TV's always running in the background, the phone dings with messages, there's email, social media, 24-hour news, and even those friendly check-in calls from family that sometimes come with 5 different updates and 3 things you need to remember. And for many older adults, especially those who've retired or live alone, that noise doesn't stop. In fact, it can feel even louder in the silence. Take James, for instance. He's 82 now. Spent most of his life working as a firefighter, brave guy, tough as nails. You'd think he'd be used to chaos. But these days, it's not sirens or fires that get to him. Even when I'm alone, he told me, it feels like there's 1,000 voices in my head. News headlines, texts from the kids, commercials, Alexa talking to me. I can't catch a break. And James isn't alone. A lot of seniors are experiencing what we might call a digital noise overload. It's the kind of stimulation that creeps in slowly and doesn't seem like a big deal until it is. Why this noise is hurting us? Here's what most people don't realize. Your body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a digital one. When your brain is constantly bombarded with updates, breaking news, buzzes, beeps, and alerts, it kicks into high alert mode. Scientists call this chronic sympathetic activation. It basically means your stress response, what we think of as fight or flight, is always on. And for seniors, this is a recipe for disaster. Because when that stress switch never flips off, it starts breaking down your body in quiet, sneaky ways. Blood pressure stays high. Sleep becomes shallow or disappears altogether. Your gut feels off, like bloating, constipation, or acid reflux. You feel anxious for no clear reason. You get mentally exhausted, even if you haven't done much all day. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Electric light bulb, we don't need more stimulation. We need restoration. What older adults really need right now is not more input but more inward time. A moment to breathe, to listen to themselves, to just be without all the noise of the world pressing in on them. Remember back when Sundays felt quiet? When you'd sit outside, maybe with a cup of coffee, and the only sound was the birds and the breeze. That kind of stillness was normal. And it did something for your body and your mind, something powerful. These days, though, the silence feels unfamiliar. Some even feel guilty for doing nothing. But here's a secret I've learned over decades of research: doing nothing is actually one of the most restorative things you can do, especially for the aging brain and body. So what can we do? Set quiet hours. Maybe after lunch, no TV or phone, just you, a book, or even just your thoughts. Turn off notifications on your phone and TV. Trust me, that news headline will still be there later, and if it's really important, someone will call you. Designate a tech-free zone. Maybe the porch, the garden, or your bedroom. A space where your brain knows it can truly relax. Tell family you need quiet time. They'll understand. And who knows? They might even try it themselves. Because at the end of the day, restoration doesn't come from scrolling, it comes from stillness. From silence. From letting your body reset, your thoughts slow down, and your heart find a little peace. Self-care reimagined. Less bubble baths, more boundaries. Let's be real for a second, self-care has gotten a little lost in translation, hasn't it? You hear the term thrown around so much these days, it almost starts to sound fluffy. Like it's all scented candles, bath bombs, or expensive spa days. But for a lot of older adults, that version of self-care just doesn't fit the bill. Some of my friends in their 70s and 80s have told me, I don't have time for that, or I don't even know what self-care means anymore. And honestly, I get it. The truth is, real self-care at this stage of life doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to cost money. And it's definitely not about bubble baths unless that's your thing, of course. For older adults, self-care is about boundaries. It's about learning, sometimes for the first time, how to say, this is my space. This is my peace. And I'm going to protect it. Self-care is about preservation, not indulgence. Think of self-care not as pampering but as preserving what matters most, your energy, your emotional balance, your clarity of mind. Because the older we get, the more precious those things become. We don't bounce back the way we used to physically or mentally. So instead of squeezing more into our days, the real work of self-care is about learning to take things out. To subtract. To create more quiet. Here's what that might look like in everyday life. Simple, powerful acts of senior self-care. Silencing your phone during meals. Not because the world will end if someone can't reach you, but because you deserve to eat in peace. No interruptions. Just you, your food, and a calm moment to yourself. Sitting outside for 10 minutes with no phone, no music, just nature. Watch the wind in the trees. Listen to the birds. Breathe. That's not doing nothing. That's letting your nervous system reset. Saying no to things that wear you out. Maybe it's a weekly group you no longer enjoy. Or a relative who only calls to vent. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. That's a hard truth, but a freeing one. Journaling, or even just sitting in silence before bed. Let the day settle. Let your mind breathe. Reflect. It doesn't have to be deep, just honest. That 5-minute pause might be the most nurturing moment of your day. Turning off the TV 2 hours before sleep. Your brain wasn't built to process flashing lights and drama before rest. Try replacing it with a book, soft music, or even just dim lighting and stillness. You'll sleep better, guaranteed. A story that might resonate. I once visited a woman named Eleanor, 84, who lived alone in a cozy little home filled with plants and sunlight. I asked her what self-care looked like for her. It's not about doing more, she said, pouring tea. It's about protecting what's left. My quiet mornings? I guard those like treasure. And I don't apologize for turning my phone off when I need to recharge. That stuck with me. And it made me realize self-care isn't selfish. It's survival. Especially for older adults whose bodies and minds are already working overtime to keep balance. So next time you hear the term self-care, don't roll your eyes. Just redefine it for yourself. Make it smaller, more sacred. And remember that the best kind of self-care is often the quietest kind, the one nobody sees but you feel in your bones. The daily practice of quiet. So, we've talked about why silence matters. Now let's talk about how to actually make it a part of your life. Not just once in a while, like a vacation from the noise, but something you return to, like brushing your teeth or taking your morning pills. Something routine. Something sacred. I like to call it a quiet practice, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to meditate on a mountain or lock yourself in a soundproof room. It's more about being intentional, about creating moments of calm in your day that give your brain and body a chance to reset. Start with sacred minutes. Let's begin small. Just 5 to 10 minutes a day. Sit quietly somewhere comfortable, maybe by a window, or outside if the weather's nice. No phone. No music. No agenda. Just you and your breath. This isn't about clearing your mind or achieving anything. It's simply about giving your nervous system a break. You'd be surprised what 5 minutes of real quiet can do. Over time, this practice can reduce stress, lower your heart rate, and even help improve memory. I've heard seniors say, "I never realized how loud my life had become until I actually stopped." That moment of stillness becomes like a home base you can return to whenever the world feels too much. Take quiet morning walks. Try this, leave the earbuds behind. Just walk. It might feel strange at first, especially if you're used to music, podcasts, or chatting on the phone. But there's something special that happens when you walk in silence. You begin to notice the sound of your feet on the pavement, birds chirping, the way the air smells in the morning. And physically, silent walking is gold. It supports heart health, improves flexibility in your joints, and boosts mood. Mentally, it gives your brain space to sort through thoughts like cleaning out a cluttered drawer. Try silent meals. This one might sound a little weird at first, but hear me out. Eating in silence, even just one meal a day, is a simple way to connect with yourself. When you eat without TV or scrolling through your phone, you actually taste your food. You chew slower. You notice textures, smells, and even your own hunger cues. And science backs this up. Mindful eating improves digestion and can reduce overeating. You're not just feeding your body, you're honoring it. The 8 p.m. rule. Our brains are wired to start winding down as night falls. But modern life? It fights against that with bright lights, TV drama, and endless scrolling. Try setting a soft boundary. After 8 p.m., the noise goes down. Turn off loud shows. Dim the lights. Avoid scrolling on your phone. These small changes cue your brain to begin producing melatonin, the hormone that helps you sleep. And better sleep? That's one of the most healing things you can give yourself, especially as you age. Create a silent space in your home. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just a small corner, a cozy chair, a blanket, a plant, maybe a candle or soft light. Make this spot your quiet zone. A place where no phone goes. No stress follows. Just you, your thoughts, your breath. I've seen people transform tiny spaces like a chair near a bookshelf or a seat by a sunny window into their favorite part of the house. Over time, your brain begins to associate that spot with calm. It becomes a sanctuary in the middle of everyday life. Real stories from silent seniors. Alright, now let's take a step back and hear from some real people who've embraced silence and experienced a transformation in their lives. Their stories are powerful because they show just how impactful even small changes in our daily routine can be when it comes to mental, emotional, and physical health. Microphone Gloria, 85, Maine. I spent most of my life filling silence with noise, radio, gossip, even arguing with the TV. After my husband passed, I started practicing silence in the mornings. I realized I was grieving so loudly, I couldn't hear my own heart. Now, I feel more connected to him in the quiet than I ever did in the noise. When Gloria talks about grieving loudly, she's hitting on something really deep. Often, in the busyness of life, we drown out emotions, don't we? Whether it's grief, stress, or even joy, we fill the quiet with distractions. It's almost as if silence makes us face uncomfortable feelings, so we avoid it. But as Gloria discovered, silence can actually be a bridge to deeper connection. She started using her mornings as a time for stillness. Instead of getting lost in the noise of the day, either the hum of the radio or the chatter around her, she gave herself the space to feel her grief. And in doing so, she found healing. She said, "Now I feel more connected to him in the quiet." Can you imagine that? Instead of turning on the TV to numb the pain, she turned inward, and that's where she found peace. It's a reminder that silence doesn't just help us calm down, it helps us tune in to ourselves and to our emotions. Ben, 90, Oregon. I was having heart palpitations from stress, too many appointments, too many demands. My daughter taught me how to meditate in silence. My doctor says my blood pressure is better than it was 10 years ago. I didn't take a new drug. I took time. Ben's story is a powerful example of how the pace of life and constant demands can take a physical toll on our health, especially as we get older. Heart palpitations, high blood pressure, those are not just numbers on a chart, they are signs of your body screaming for a break. Ben's stress wasn't just about a busy schedule, it was about living constantly in a state of fight or flight, where his body never got to truly relax. But then, his daughter introduced him to meditation. She didn't give him a pill or a new doctor's appointment. She gave him silence. He started using it as a tool to reset, and over time, his health followed suit. No new medication, just a gift of time, of breathing, of stillness. What's remarkable here is that Ben didn't just relieve the symptoms, he started addressing the root cause, his constant stress. Meditation didn't just improve his blood pressure, it gave him control over his response to the world. The quiet allowed him to slow down, take a breath, and find peace in moments that used to overwhelm him. These stories remind us of something really important: silence is not passive. It's not just about what you stop doing, it's about what you make space for. Whether it's connection to loved ones who've passed or giving your body a chance to heal from the effects of stress, silence invites something active into our lives. It's a practice, a daily choice to step back, reset, and tune in. And here's the kicker: you don't need to be an expert or perfect at it. Just like Ben, who learned meditation from his daughter, or Gloria, who started simply by taking a quiet morning, we can all begin wherever we are. The key is just starting, maybe 5 minutes of stillness, maybe taking a walk without distractions, maybe turning off the phone during meals. It's not about getting it right or being silent for hours. It's about making room for something that our fast-paced world doesn't often give us: the chance to hear our own hearts, to listen to our own thoughts, to feel the space between all the noise. How silence rewires aging brains. Now, let's dive into something really exciting: how silence can actually help rewire our brains, even as we age. You might be wondering, how can something as simple as silence have such a big impact on our brain? Well, it's all about neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's incredible ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Essentially, the brain can rewire itself throughout life. It's like a computer that can install updates long after it's been built. And guess what? Silence plays a huge role in this process, especially as we get older. Silence and the aging brain, a powerful combo. Research shows that silence doesn't just calm us down, it actively promotes neuroplasticity. That means, by taking time for quiet reflection or meditation, seniors can help their brains stay sharp and fight back against cognitive decline. One of the biggest benefits of silence is reducing memory loss. A 2016 study from JAMA Internal Medicine found that elderly participants who engaged in mindfulness and quiet practices had reduced inflammation markers. Why does that matter? Well, inflammation in the brain is a key contributor to cognitive decline, memory loss, and diseases like Alzheimer's. So, when we give ourselves time to sit in silence, we're not just relaxing, we're literally giving our brains a chance to protect themselves. And this isn't just theoretical, it's real, measurable impact. Seniors who make time for quiet reflection or meditation tend to have slower rates of cognitive decline. In other words, they maintain mental sharpness for longer. They also report better sleep, and who doesn't want that, right? Sleep is essential for memory consolidation, and when we sleep better, our brains have the chance to sort through and process all the information we've taken in throughout the day. But it doesn't stop there. Seniors who regularly practice silence or mindfulness also report greater life satisfaction. Think about it, when we are constantly bombarded by noise, our minds are in a perpetual state of stress and overwhelm. This makes it harder to enjoy the present moment or to reflect on what truly matters. But when we practice silence, we give ourselves the space to be more mindful, more present, and, as a result, happier. The brain's spring cleaning effect. Imagine your brain is like your attic or your basement. Over time, it collects all kinds of stuff: memories, experiences, emotions, and thoughts. If you never take the time to sort through it, it just piles up and starts to feel cluttered. But when you create moments of silence, it's like you're giving your brain the chance to do a little spring cleaning. It can take the time to organize, process, and clear out all that mental clutter. In a way, silence is like giving your brain the space to file away memories, organize thoughts, and breathe. The more time we spend in silence, the more we allow our brains to reset and make the necessary adjustments to function at their best. And the beauty of this is that it doesn't matter your age. Whether you're 40, 60, or 80, the brain has an incredible ability to adapt and improve. It's never too late to start giving your brain the quiet it needs to grow. A simple but powerful practice. So, how can you start building this into your daily routine? Well, just like we've talked about before, it doesn't have to be a huge commitment. You don't need to meditate for an hour or retreat to a cabin in the woods, though that would be nice. You can start small, with just a few minutes of quiet time each day. The key is consistency. Whether it's sitting silently for 5 minutes in the morning, taking a quiet walk, or doing some mindful breathing exercises, these small practices can make a world of difference in your brain's health. As you give your brain the gift of silence, remember, you're not just slowing down. You're helping your brain heal, reorganize, and stay sharp for years to come. It's like upgrading the system, giving it space to work better, and ultimately leading to better overall health and well-being. Spirituality, silence, and the search for meaning. When we talk about silence, it's not just about finding peace, especially for older adults. For many, silence is also deeply tied to purpose. As life slows down, we often find ourselves searching for deeper meaning, a connection to something greater than ourselves. And silence, in its simplest form, offers the perfect space for that. Whether or not you follow a particular religion, silence can be an incredibly spiritual experience. It's in these quiet moments that many of us begin to uncover a profound sense of gratitude, forgiveness, and a deeper connection to our legacy. When everything else in life is loud and overwhelming, silence offers us the chance to reconnect with our true selves, and often, a greater sense of peace. For example, Eleanor, 88, a retired opera singer, shared her experience. "In silence, I finally heard my own voice," she said. "Not the voice I used on stage, but the one inside me. The one I ignored when life got too loud." Eleanor's words really hit home, don't they? It's easy to get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, especially when we're younger, that we lose touch with who we truly are. But as we age, silence becomes a powerful tool to rediscover those parts of ourselves that we may have neglected or even forgotten. It's almost as if silence gives us permission to finally listen to that quiet voice within one that has always been there, waiting for us to slow down and hear it. This kind of reflection can help you find gratitude for the life you've lived, forgiveness for any regrets or hurts, and a sense of legacy, the feeling that your life has meaning, that you've made a mark in some way. Silence gives us the space to look back and appreciate how far we've come and what we've learned along the way. In fact, many seniors who embrace silence often talk about how it helps them reconnect with their spiritual beliefs or practices, even if they hadn't actively engaged in them for years. Whether it's prayer, meditation, or simply reflecting on one's life, silence becomes a channel for spiritual growth. It's in the quiet that we begin to understand that life isn't just about the things we've done, but about the impact we've had on others and the world around us. For some, silence can be the bridge that connects them to something larger, whether it's the universe, nature, or a higher power. It's in these moments of stillness that we often feel the deepest sense of connection, not only to ourselves but to a greater, shared experience of life. So, while silence offers peace, it also opens the door to something bigger, a kind of spiritual awakening or reconnection that can be life-changing in our later years. Your action plan: silence as medicine. Now that we've explored the power of silence in improving mental health, promoting neuroplasticity, and connecting with a deeper sense of purpose, it's time to take action. How do you integrate silence into your daily life? Let's break it down into simple, practical steps. Daily quiet routine for seniors. Here's a simple routine you can try. In the morning, start your day with just 10 minutes of quiet. You can either do some silent breathing or just enjoy a cup of tea without any distractions. Then, around midday, take a nature walk. No headphones, no phone, just you and the outdoors. It's amazing how peaceful that can feel. In the afternoon, try setting aside a little time to journal or just reflect quietly, maybe after lunch, just to gather your thoughts for the rest of the day. Finally, in the evening, make it a habit to turn off all screens: your phone, the TV, anything that lights up at least 2 hours before you go to bed. It'll help your mind wind down and get ready for a good night's sleep. Weekly practice. 1 hour digital detox block. Pick a time each week to completely unplug from all screens. No emails, no social media, no news. Just silence. Things to remove. Background TV or radio during meals. This can be a hard habit to break, but meals are a great time to practice silence. Focus on the food, enjoy the moment, and listen to the natural sounds around you. Loud news before bed. Avoid heavy news consumption right before sleep. This can leave you feeling anxious or upset, preventing you from unwinding fully before bed. Excessive phone notifications. The constant pings from your phone can create unnecessary noise and stress. Take control and limit notifications or turn them off. Things to add. Gentle silence. Whether it's a few minutes in the morning or a quiet walk outside, incorporate moments of calm throughout your day. Intentional stillness. Make an effort to spend time in silence each day, without any agenda. This could be as simple as sitting in a peaceful corner of your home or stepping outside for a few moments to just be. Thoughtful reflection. At the end of the day, reflect on your thoughts, your actions, or just sit with your feelings for a few moments. This quiet reflection can help clear your mind and prepare you for a peaceful night's sleep. By following this simple action plan, you're not just adding silence to your day, you're allowing it to become a form of medicine. Silence heals, restores, and rewires our brains, but it also brings us peace, balance, and spiritual clarity. Take it one step at a time, and before you know it, silence will become an essential part of your daily routine, improving your mental and physical health in ways you never thought possible. After all the years I've spent working with seniors, one truth stands clear to me: aging isn't something we should fight against. It's not a race to outpace time. Instead, it's about rediscovering something timeless within us, something we've always had, but maybe just need to reconnect with. Sure, the world gets louder every day. We can't deny that. There's more noise, more chaos, more demands on our attention than ever before. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by it all. But here's where the magic lies: while the world around us gets louder, we have the power to quiet down. And when we embrace that stillness, we tap into something profound. In that quiet, we find strength. It's the kind of strength that isn't about physical endurance or pushing through, but about being at peace with who we are. We find joy, not the fleeting kind that comes from external sources, but a deeper, more lasting joy that comes from within. And perhaps most importantly, we find clarity. Clarity about our past, our present, and what truly matters moving forward. Think of it like this: a whisper can only be heard in silence. If the room is full of noise, that whisper gets lost. The same goes for the wisdom that comes with age. We can't hear it when we're constantly on the go, running from one thing to the next. It's only when we slow down, when we pause and really listen, that we start to hear the quiet voice of wisdom that's been there all along. The lesson I've learned, and I hope you'll take with you, is that silence is far from empty. It's not just a lack of sound. It's full of everything we need. It's a space where we can reconnect with ourselves, rediscover our purpose, and tap into that well of wisdom we've gathered over the years. So, if this message resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you already have a quiet practice you cherish, or perhaps you're inspired to try something new. Drop a comment below and share with me how you find peace in the silence. And if you want more science-backed tips on senior wellness, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And hey, if you know someone who could use a little more peace in their life, share this with them. It might just be the reminder they need to slow down and embrace the quiet too.